Hello and welcome to the Genuine Learning Blog. My name is Melissa Galasso, and like we do at the start of every quarter, we are going to take a look at the prior quarter in review. So today we're going to look at Q1 2023 and what was issued during that period. Now, it took quite a bit of time to actually get an issued standard. In fact, January and February had no issued standards throughout all of the standard setters, whether it was AICPA, FASB, and GASB. We did not see any of those issue a final standard during that time. So obviously we were enjoying a little bit of lull during busy season. However, in Q1 in March, we did get to see a couple of really important ones come out. So let's take a look. First off, on the FASB side of the house, they did issue two really important ASUs, ASU 2023-01, the very first ASU of 2023, which didn't come out until March 27th, so pretty late in the quarter, but it was a very important standard, and it is ASU 2023-01, leases, in particular for common control arrangements. The standard has two big impacts. The first one is it allows private companies that have these leases under common control to just use the written terms and conditions of the lease in order to determine, one, whether there is a lease, and two, what the accounting would be. So it is a practical expedient, so it is an option, and it can be done on an arrangement by arrangement basis. And so private companies and nonprofits without conduit debt now have an alternative to having determined the legal enforceability of these common control arrangements. However, the second element actually impacts all entities, whether you're public, private, nonprofit. It is going to be how we do leasehold improvement amortization going forward. Today, the leasehold improvements are amortized over the shorter of the useful life or the lease term. And this was somewhat problematic given issue one, in that we may have lease terms that are shorter given the written terms and conditions. And so as a result, the accounting wouldn't reflect the economics there. And so as a result, in issue number two, they decided to require entities, all entities, public, private, etc., when the lease is under common control, right? So there's these related party leases, that they would amortize them over the useful life. And if the lessee were to no longer have control of the underlying asset, it would just be an equity transfer back to the lessor, because again, they are related parties, they are under common control. And so this is something I think that will be well received and has a little bit of a strange effective date. It wasn't issued until March of 2023. And so they made it effective for basically 2024 year ends, but also said, because many of you are working right now on issuing your standards or your new financial statements that incorporate ASU 2016-02 for leases, you can do it so long as you hadn't issued yet. So I know a lot of CPA firms who were holding reports waiting for that to issue, and so now they can. The second one is a little bit more of a niche topic. ASU 2023-02 came out just 2 days later on March 29th, and it is accounting for investment in tax credit structures using the proportional amortization method. When the proportional amortization method was originally created, it was only for low-income housing tax credit, and so very, very narrow. And so this allows the expansion of the proportional amortization method to other structures, and also provides better guidance on, if you're not using the proportional amortization method, what methods you should be using, where you should go within GAAP for your reporting. So very important if you're heavily involved in these sort of tax credit structures and making sure that the GAAP reflects the economics. So that's it on the issued side. They did issue exposure drafts related to cryptocurrency and other items, but we have already addressed those in the vlog. Our quarterly updates really just focus on the issued standards. So now we'll turn our attention to the AICPA, who also pretty late in the quarter, it was March 7th, did issue SAS 149, which is a pretty material change to the group audit standard. So AUC Section 600 has been a common deficiency for CPA firms for a number of years. In addition, the IAASB updated ISA 600, and so this was kind of a convergence effort mixed in with addressing some of those common audit deficiencies. So this creates two types of auditors that you have potentially working in the group audit. You have what is called the referred to auditor, and this is where we make reference to the other auditor out there that has done an audit of a component. And so today that would just be a component auditor, but now it gets a new term, referred to auditor, to differentiate between whether you're part of the engagement team or not. And then it updates the definition of a component auditor. And again, these are the other, these auditors who are part of the engagement team that are working on a particular component. And so they make some pretty significant changes in terms of terminology. They also make changes related to the more risk-based approach. The Exton standard basically says, hey, depending on the size of the component, this is the work that you have to do. So it's pretty prescriptive on the work requirements. This moves to a principles-based approach. It allows the auditor, using their professional judgment, to decide which components they're going to perform work on and what type of work they're going to do. So I think this will be somewhat of an improvement over the more prescriptive version and allow people to really look at the risk related to each component. So this one has a pretty long runway. We're talking 2026 here. So not something that we're going to be focused on right now. We have plenty of audit standards effective this year. So this one is going to be on the back burner for a little while, but it is helpful because it does work well with the changes that are in quality management, differentiating between who's on the engagement team. So all good things as we move forward. All right, GASB did not issue any new standards. They have some huge projects that they've continued to work on. They did meet in the first quarter and are trying to move that financial reporting model forward, as well as the risk and uncertainty disclosures. So we expect things to come down the pike, but they did not issue anything final in the first quarter of 2023. So that gives us a wrap on today's blog. So hopefully you are up to date on what has been issued in 2023. And we wish you a wonderful rest of your busy season. I know many of you are preparers who've been working very hard. I know some of you work on single audits. That 3/31 deadline was real. So we are very appreciative of all your hard work. So keep doing a great job, and we look forward to seeing you on a future blog. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.